Good afternoon, Broken Arrow. I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon. Thank you for joining me for the Thursday, February 18th, winter weather emergency operations meeting that we're having in connection with all the snow and severe temperatures that we've experienced here in Broken Arrow for the last week or so. As I have in the last 2 days, I brought on a number of the city's department directors and senior staff members to update the community on the responses and the actions that we've taken as a part of our response to this severe winter weather. So as I have the last 2 days, we're going to kick things off with an update from our emergency management director, Jamie Ott. Jamie, what's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Spurgeon. Our weather for the next couple of days, it looks like it's going to be mostly clear conditions and light winds tonight. Again, the temperature is going to drop in single digits for most of our area. Wind chill values, we're still going to be ranging from 5 below to 5 above zero Friday morning. With warming conditions and temperatures hopefully into the 60s and 70s next week, looks like we're just about out of the deep freeze for right now.
Wow, that's great news. I really appreciate your updating the community on the weather forecast, Jamie. And I also, as I've said previously, we appreciate your essentially your round-the-clock review and updates that have been going on to us with regard to the weather and what we could expect. So thank you very much for all that you've done. Okay, now let's move on next to Rocky Hinkle, our street and stormwater director. Rocky, bring us up to speed on what's been happening with your department.
Absolutely, sir. Thanks for having me. The roads are in great condition. Again, Mother Nature has contributed to that. The sun is out and creating some more melting. As Jamie mentioned, the temperatures will be below freezing tonight, so we will have a skeleton crew in overnight to address any refreezing issues that may develop or occur. And then for the most part, we're going to wind down our snow and ice control operations and prepare for our next operation next week. As Jamie mentioned, with the temperatures being so high, we'll be moving into pothole season or pothole repair because the weather is so conducive for that. So that's about it. And I know our guys are looking forward to a little bit of a break here.
We appreciate their efforts. Thank you for that update, Rocky. Folks, let me just take just a second and talk about the city's response to snow and ice removal. Historically, we've always focused on the main collectors and arterial roads within our community, and we've done that because there is a very large cost associated with purchasing the capital equipment and the personnel needed to go into the residential neighborhoods. And so that's not something the city has traditionally done. There's been a couple of times when the councils have looked at the possible policy to do so. In talking to Mr. Hinkle and Kenny Schwab, our Assistant City Manager of Operations, we believe it's time to rethink and to take a look at how we could come up with a policy to where we would do residential roads in certain circumstances. As we all know, in Oklahoma, whenever we do receive normally snow, it's usually gone off of the streets within just a couple of days. The event that we experienced, or we're just coming out of, I should say, is not something we normally experienced here like they do in the northern cities where they are prepared to go in and do the residential streets. I mean, we have 1,300 to 1,400 miles of residential streets that we would be responsible for. And so we are going to look at that this spring as a part of our budget. And I do plan on recommending the city council that we look at this further because I believe we're starting to reach the point that we should be able to go in and provide some level of assistance for ice and for snow. So thanks for all the comments that we've received from the community in regards to how we do things. And we're certainly going to be looking at how we can improve the level of service that we provide to our community going forward. Rocky, thank you for the update. And please thank all of your crews for all their hard work the last 11 days. Okay, next, let's move to solid waste removal. Kenny Schwab, Assistant City Manager of Operations. How's it going?
It's going fantastic. As of 2 o'clock, our staff on picking up the solid waste and then taking it to the waste energy plant, we are a little over 90% complete with our typical Monday pickup. So fantastic. Thank you to the staff. They've braved the cold. We've had no accidents, no injuries. Everything's going fantastic. And thank you to the customers for listening and hearing our request. The recyclables are a lot lower right now. So that's allowed us to get out ahead of this curve. So tomorrow, we'll actually pick up Tuesdays. And then Saturday, we'll pick up Wednesdays. And then the following Monday, we'll pick up the normal Thursday. So pay attention to the schedule. Right now, it's working very well. And as I said, we're about 90 to 95% complete with today's routes. One other thing I wanted to mention, Mr. Spurgeon and I have been talking about what's allowing us to get caught up and stay caught up is that we're not setting out a lot of recyclables right now. If you set recyclables out, we'll pick them up, we'll take them to the waste energy plant. We want to do that again next week so we can finally get back onto a normal schedule in 2 weeks. We'll start picking up the recyclables and taking them to the recyclable plant starting March the 1st when we get back onto normal operations. So we'll make sure, I'll get with communications and we'll put a footnote on our schedule just so everybody can see that. More good news on our utility side. I just got an update that we are only working with addressing 6 water line breaks. So we're in really good shape. I do expect as we begin to thaw out and the ground starts to warm up, it'll actually start stressing the pipe differently and starting to pull on the pipe. So we may still see breaks, even though through this thaw or through this freeze, we haven't seen a lot of breaks. I expect as we begin to thaw, we may still see some over the next week or 2. But right now, solid waste recycling is going fantastic, and our waterline break response is outstanding.
Thank you, Kenny. You hit the nail on the head when you talked about the resident support. We are grateful for the fact that folks are being very understanding right now with the weather conditions and the difficulties that are associated with collecting the solid waste. Folks, if you can hold your recyclables until the week of March 1st, that would be great. We certainly want to try to keep our numbers really high for recyclables because we are a community that wants to be sustainable. We know that to be a fact. So it's not something that we really want to do in terms of putting them together. So if you can hold them, that would be great. If you can't, we understand. And we certainly will be back on a normal schedule on March 1st. So great update, Kenny. Please pass along to all of your crews how much we appreciate the work that you're doing for all of us. Absolutely. All right, let's move into the area of public safety. We have a familiar face. This guy's definitely going for #1 in videos. I think he's ahead of Rocky and Norm put together. It's our fire chief, Jeremy Moore. Chief Moore, how's it going?
Hey, terrific. Thanks for having me on today, Mr. Spurgeon. We've got a couple things going on. Obviously, we are excited to see these warmer temperatures, as Jamie reported, starting to see that ice and snow finally thawing out. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen a huge call volume increase, mostly due to slips and falls and traffic accidents. But as Mr. Schwab was reporting, we're also seeing water line breaks throughout the community, not only as our main water lines breaking here at the city, but a lot of residential structures are seeing freezing conditions inside and freezing those water lines, as well as some of our businesses around town. And that has doubled and even tripled our call volume over the last couple of weeks. So we're excited to see things returning to normal. I would say continue to be very mindful of the surfaces you're walking on. We're going to see those overnight freezes still continuing to occur. What melts off during the day is going to lead to slips and falls and hazardous driving conditions in some areas over the next week or so, and then or over the next weekend. And then the water line breaks, just as Mr. Schwab reported, we're still continuing to see those. I would encourage our citizens to be very familiar with where their water shutoff valves are to their houses and businesses. That will really help us out when we come out to try to help isolate the water damage for our citizens. That knowing where those are quickly makes it a little bit easier. Also, we have had extra units stood up because of the call volume. So we've stood extra units up. We know we've had due to the slippery and hazardous road conditions, and the city teams have done a great job cleaning those main thoroughfares, but getting in and out of neighborhoods has caused some delays as well. So we've stood up extra units in the past week to address that. We'd also ask the citizens, when you see that fire truck or that ambulance coming down the street, give us some extra room. We're slipping and sliding just a little bit also, and we don't want to bump into anybody, and we don't want anybody bumping into us. So please be sure and give us some extra room as we navigate the streets right now. The last thing I would report on is our vaccine clinic. In spite of the crazy weather we've had, we are finishing up today with our first week of vaccine clinic, and it has been an outstanding turnout from the community. And we are really excited for this partnership that we have with Passport Healthcare to be able to provide our residents right here at the city public safety complex the vaccines for COVID-19. So far, at the end of today, I think we will have vaccinated about 400 citizens this week, which exceeds our goal. Each day, we're trying to do about 125 citizens Monday through Thursday. And so we're going to exceed that goal this week. Monday was a holiday, so we didn't have Monday. So in 3 days, we're approaching 400. Very important for our citizens, we are by appointment only. So you have to have an appointment to get a vaccine, and tomorrow morning, Friday morning at 9 a.m. So every Friday morning for the next 3 weeks will be the portal that is opening, and you can find that portal right there on our city's website. Go to our city's website and access the portal to schedule your appointment. That comes open at 9 a.m. every Friday morning, and that will make all the appointments for the following week. So all next week will be available starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you have to be sure you're complying with the state's guidelines, which right now is those residents over 65 years or older. So we encourage everybody to grab that vaccine if you feel like that's appropriate for you, and we're glad that we can offer them here, but we do need everybody to go onto that portal and set up a site. We've got a lot of great feedback. It's a pretty simple process to come in. We're flowing folks through and maintaining social distancing and accommodating as many citizens as we can. So it's been a really great success so far. We're looking to 3 or 4 more weeks of that right here in the city of Broken Arrow. That's all I've got for today, sir.
Wow, that is great news on both fronts. Chief, we really appreciate all the efforts of the Broken Arrow Fire Department to be responsive to our citizens like they always are. You can always count on the fire department to be out there doing whatever they can to help our citizens. Greatly appreciative. And to hear the great news about the vaccination clinic, I've received several folks messages thanking us for this initiative and how important it is. And they said everything went really well when they were there this week. So thank you for all that you're doing to help that. So thanks for all you're doing personally, Chief, you and your staff. It's we know you set a very high standard for everyone in your department, and we're thankful for that. So staying in the area of public safety, let's talk to Assistant City Manager of Administration, Norm Stevens. Norm, what's going on, man?
Thank you, Mr. Spurgeon. I had the opportunity to visit with Chief of Police Brandon Berryhill. And the best thing that I can tell you, and to make it short and sweet, is things are unremarkable at the PD. We are back to normal operating, answering calls. 70% of our fleet has 4-wheel drive, have no problems getting anywhere in the city. So it's just business as usual. Things are good. I do want to take a second and thank the officers. Whenever there's ice and snow on the streets, pushing vehicles out of the street and out of parking lots is not the glamorous part that any of them signed on for, but they've really done a fantastic job making sure people get out of harm's way. So we're real proud of them.
Okay. Well, please pass along the appreciation from my office as well as all the employees for the job that they do, because they're out there and regardless of the elements. So we're very grateful for our police and fire being out there, and then the communications folks and everyone else that works in those 2 departments on the back end, making sure that those frontline employees can do their job. So thanks for that update, Norm. Please pass along to the chief and his team our gratitude. Okay, at this time, we're going to hear from TJ Gerlach, who is our communications coordinator. TJ, what's going on in communications?
Business as usual. Thank you for having me, Mr. Spurgeon. We are continuing to get a lot of emails and a lot of questions on our social media channels, so we're answering those as to the best of our ability as they come in. Just want to remind everybody, the best resource for news from the city will be our website, brokenarrowok.gov. And as Chief Moore mentioned, the link for registering for that COVID-19 vaccine is right at the very top of our homepage in the yellow banner. So it's very easy to access for anyone that needs it.
Okay, folks, we put out a lot of really good information, and I'm grateful for the work that the communications team does. We try to keep everyone informed, and we do try to answer as many questions as we can about what's going on with operations. So that's about it for this update. I can share with you that in concert with our emergency management director, as well as talking to Mr. Schwab and Mr. Stevens, we believe that this is the last update that we're going to give as a part of this event, as we like to call it. Should there be a need, if something should flare back up with the weather that we're unaware of, or if Jamie feels like that we need to actually spin up some other type of mode as a result of something that comes up we're not expecting, we'll come back to you. But otherwise, this will be the last video update. There'll still be a lot of print and information on social media if you have questions. But I just want to close it out and say thank you to all of the department directors, the managers, and also our employees for all their hard work and getting us through this event. I'd also like to say thank you to the support of the City Council for their efforts, and to mainly and most importantly to all the citizens for their patience and all the things they've done to stay safe during this extreme situation that we dealt with. So unless something else comes up, just follow us on our social media platform, or as TJ said, on our website to know what's happening. But until next time, take care, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.